After hearing the name, the male protagonist suddenly broke out in a cold sweat, because this is what the male protagonist is in the game. The male protagonist thought, does this guy know his true identity? Actually, no. Lydia wanted to ask if the male protagonist knew this. In Lydia's eyes, Heart of Dawn, this guy is a pure scum. I don't know how many muses and witches have been harmed, but then the guy suddenly disappeared. And the memories of the witches also disappeared. The male protagonist realized what you have done in the game. It all came true. Look at your wanted list. The male protagonist is glad that he didn't show his face in armor at that time. Otherwise, even if you have 10 lives, it will not be enough. At this moment, the other side leads you to the full moon witch and told him about the conversation between the male protagonist and Lydia. This night, all the witches have received a message. That is, as long as you marry the male protagonist, you can obtain the rights of the evil god. The male protagonist can't even dream of it. Bring yourself a piece of Lydia's marriage lie. It was taken seriously by all the witches. A battle for him has officially kicked off. At this moment, our male protagonist is still using the toilet, unaware that the danger is slowly approaching. Just then, a pair of hands suddenly stretched out from the back of the male protagonist's head, and he looked up. It turned out to be a full moon witch who escaped from prison. I haven't waited for the male protagonist to react. What's the situation? He threw himself to the ground in an instant. Even the moon witch doesn't say much nonsense. He said he was here for the power of the evil god. As long as the male protagonist is willing to marry him, then he can agree to any request of the male protagonist. The other side of this moment, after Lydia, the witch of desire, learned of this, instantly angry. Good guy, summer moon luck. This guy dares to rob me. Just in case. Lydia decides to take a look with the crystal ball first. What the hell are they doing? The result is, good guy. This fox spirit really came for the power of the evil god. Lydia is also a little worried at this point, in case he really accepts the full moon witch's marriage request. Then wouldn't he fall short? The voice has not yet fallen. The male protagonist on the other side has finally made his choice. I can't ask such a cute witch to propose to me. It's really hard to refuse. And the two people in front of the screen think this is it. This guy can't resist the temptation of the full moon witch at all. But the male protagonist suddenly replied, but I refused. He not only rejected the marriage proposal of the full moon witch, he also expressed that he already had someone he liked. The two people in front of the screen instantly blushed when they heard this. They both thought that the person the male protagonist liked was themselves. But that's not all. The full moon witch thought that if it is soft, it will not work. Then don't blame me for being tough. Finish. Full moon muse suddenly took out a bottle of love beeswax. As soon as the male protagonist sees this thing, I panicked in an instant. I'm too familiar with this thing. I haven't waited for him to react yet. Xia Yuyun pinched his mouth and wanted the undead 50,000 in a hurry. The man suddenly shouted, "Wait a minute!" At this moment, the male protagonist thought that since he could not hide, then just smash it. So the male protagonist said that if you really like me, then feed me the medicine with your mouth. Upon hearing this, Full Moon Muse was instantly excited. I didn't expect you to play so fancy. And the two people in front of the screen were instantly furious. I didn't expect you to be such a person, but it's too late. It's too late to stop him. Because at this moment, Summer Moon Prison has already put the potion in its mouth. But just as he was about to feed the male protagonist, Unexpectedly, the male protagonist suddenly shouted that there was a flaw and pressed Xia Yuyun's mouth. Summer Moon, luck is too late. The anticonductance caused himself to drink the wonderful medicine of love. The effect of this medicine is also said to come. Xia Yuyun's expression was not quite right. But the male protagonist suddenly shouted to stop pretending. No one knows love better than I do. Same if it's against humans and muses. Then a bottle of love killer is definitely enough. But if it is used against witches, then you need at least 100 bottles. At the same time, the Witch of Desire's any door suddenly appeared in front of the two. I saw Lydia slowly walking out of the door. The eyes that want to kill someone cannot be hidden. Lust Witch Lydia shouted angrily, "You're next month in prison. How dare you come to my territory and rob me of a man? I'm afraid you haven't lived enough." But in the face of the menacing three-dimensional muse, Xia Yuyun asked her how. "Is that your man? Are you two already married?" As soon as you hear this sentence, Lydia, who was still aggressive just now, blushed instantly. Lydia replied nervously, "No. We're not married." Lydia asked again, "Are you his girlfriend?" At this time, Simple Ladia was completely flustered. She has been single for thousands of years. I have been afraid to face the relationship between men and women. Even the Moon Witch understood, since you two are not dating. So what's wrong with me pursuing her? Lydia also understands. How does the Full Moon Witch like Dustless? Obviously, it is for the power of the evil god. That being the case, then I won't pretend. The voice has not yet fallen. Lydia instantly entered witch form and shouted that the power of the evil god can only belong to me. The Full Moon Witch is also a little panicked when she sees this situation. This crazy woman. Come on. That being the case, then I won't be polite to you. In this way, two good sisters compete for the male lead. And the sword is rattling. It's really a bit like a plastic sister flower. The male protagonist didn't expect either. A lie I told casually. They actually took it seriously, causing the two to marry themselves. Don't hesitate to fight. So the male protagonist hurriedly separated the two. Since you both want to marry me, then let's play fair. Let's see who can conquer with their skills. It's night soon. Lydia is afraid that the Full Moon Witch is using underhanded tricks, so I'm going to keep staring at him. But he still underestimated the Full Moon Witch's ability. The Full Moon Witch is best at illusions. He first creates illusions through illusions. Make Lydia think she's been with him all the time. In fact, he had already sneaked into the male protagonist's room and gave the male protagonist an offer he couldn't refuse. I saw him in front of the male protagonist, launched his own trick, changing the moon in the water. Moment, conjured 4 various ladies for the male protagonist. Good guy, the Full Moon Witch is like charcoal fire. These are old acquaintances. Ask anyone who likes two-dimensional people. Can withstand such temptation. What's more, our male protagonist is also an old second dimension. The Full Moon Witch told the male protagonist that as long as you marry me, then these are all yours. Then you can do whatever you want. At this time, as the male protagonist of the old second dimension, it's starting to waver a little. But the Full Moon Witch's plan has just begun. He deliberately, in front of the male protagonist, he took out the jug he used to drink water from. Then Dun 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 drank. The curious man was indeed fooled. He asked curiously, "What's in the gourd?" "Looks delicious." The Full Moon Witch told the male protagonist, It contained something called cola. Finish. The full moon witch took out a bottle of canned Coke and handed it over to the male protagonist. You know, the male protagonist has traveled since the Earth after entering the game world. But I never saw Coke again, let alone drunk. So the male protagonist didn't even think about it. Pick up the Coke and drink it ton by ton. After watching the male protagonist drink the Coke, there was a smirk on the face of the full moon witch. He posted it and asked the male protagonist, "Are you feeling anything special right now? Like feeling hot all over, dry mouth, etc." Upon hearing this, the male protagonist instantly realized that something was wrong. He was so scared that he quickly checked his status. Sure enough, the bottle of Coke just now was drugged. At this moment, the male protagonist has lost control of his desires. But, fortunately, the male protagonist had a marriage contract with the full moon witch in his previous life. The marriage contract stipulates that the two parties cannot cause harm to each other. So the drug just now is ineffective for the male protagonist. But the Witch of Lust doesn't know that. So the male protagonist wants to come and recruit. I saw him throw the full moon witch down and pretended to have been charmed. Looking at the little red face, plus sweating profusely, I have to say that the male lead is really similar. Now the Witch of Desire thought, "Since you have been charmed by me, that sister has to play tricks on you." Just when the male protagonist pounced, he suddenly turned into a puff of blue smoke, slip away from the arms of the male protagonist. Next second, the voice of the full moon witch came from behind the male protagonist. "Shangong's family is behind you. Come and catch him." At this moment, the male protagonist thought, "This full moon witch is too bad. Fortunately, I was immune to his charm. Otherwise, he will definitely be toyed with." The voice has not yet fallen. The male protagonist pounced on the full moon witch behind him again. Another poof. The full moon witch has transformed into various doppelgangers to play with the male protagonist. I'm sure everyone can see it too. The full moon witch actually doesn't really like the male protagonist. The reason why he wants to marry the male protagonist is just to gain the power of the evil god. Finally, the male protagonist gave him the ring as he wished. After getting the dream ring, the full moon witch put it on her hand without hesitation. So, the power of the evil god is mine. At this time, the full moon witch has begun to fantasize. He will conquer all races with the power of evil gods. You will be the only master of the world. But only the male protagonist knows. How can there be the power of any evil god? It's just yourself. It's just a lie to trick the witch into getting married. I saw the full moon witch waved her big hand. Shout out the door to another world open. And it worked. The full moon witch has been messing around for a long time, and it didn't work at all. Seeing this, the male protagonist also had a showdown. He told the truth to the full moon witch. The full moon witch who learned the truth was completely dumbfounded. Despicable extrovert. See if I kill you. The voice has not yet fallen. The full moon witch suddenly raised her sickle, charged towards the male protagonist. It's too fast to react. This obviously wants Wu Chan's life. But the result was a blow to the power of the full moon witch. It was easily collapsed by Wu Chan with one finger. Original. Two people who are engaged cannot hurt each other. And not only that, after Wu Chan and the full moon witch reached a marriage contract, they share abilities with each other. That is to say, Wu Chan can also recruit snakes from the full moon witch now. I'm sure you remember that. The witch of the full moon once used the trick of the phantom moon in the water, Transform Wu Chen. 4 two-dimensional heavyweight girls came out to tempt Wu Chen. Wu Chen almost couldn't hold back. As the saying goes, an eye for an eye, tit for tat. Wu Chen wants to let the full moon simulation taste it now. Amazing! I saw Wu Chen shouting the magic moon in the water. I just heard a poof. Wu Chen instantly gave the full moon witch. Transformed into 4 heavyweights. Philosophers feel the charm of philosophy. At this time, the full moon witch was already dumbfounded. His screams echoed throughout the castle. Finally, under the philosophical bombardment of the male protagonist, the full moon witch has begun to doubt life at this time. He shouted in grievance, what a vicious move. I want to divorce you. Good guy, it was you who proposed to me in a different way. It's you who's crying and yelling for divorce now. Treat me like a public toilet. Come when you want. Go if you want. Unexpectedly, the full moon witch shouted that if you hadn't lied, I wouldn't marry a lowly human like you. Upon hearing this, the male protagonist is a little unhappy. Okay, you are pregnant in summer. How dare you scold your husband?